committed illegal acts in the name of freedom of consciousness. This selfless show of bravery was to define the course of her life. In her own words, "After escaping from Algeria and suffering through yet another arrest and release in Switzerland, I left Leary, searching for a country that would allow me to find some peace and sanity. What followed were years of adventure and fear in some very far-flung places. I lived underground as a fugitive for 24 years in Europe and the Americas, long after Leary was captured again and eventually released from the U.S. prison system. Because of Rosemary Leary, many founding members of the psychedelic movement lived out their lives in freedom rather than in jail cells. She paid a high price for the freedom of others. Not until 1995 could she say, "I have regained my freedom and I am free again to write." But she paid this price willingly because of what psychedelics had taught her, that there are truths more fundamental and significant than the laws of men intoxicated with power. Martina Hoffman is a world-renowned painter and sculptor and a central figure in contemporary visionary art. Hoffman's work can be found in numerous books, magazines, and other publications, including Stanislav Grof's Modern Consciousness Research and the Understanding of Art, and as a featured artist in the book Women of Visionary Art. She keeps a home and studio in both the United States and France. Preface. Fugitive in Exile. Rosemary Woodruff Leary. When you strike off on your own, leave some trace of your passage which will guide you coming back. One stone set on another, some grass weighted by a stick. But if you come to an impasse or a dangerous spot, remember that the trail you have left could lead people coming after you into trouble. So go back along your trail and obliterate any traces that you have left. This applies to anyone who wishes to leave some mark of his passage in the world. Even without wanting to, you always leave a few traces. Be ready to answer to your fellow men for the trail you leave behind you. René Demall, Mount Analog. Fugitive. 1. Noun. Someone fleeing from punishment, danger, pursuit, authority, etc. 2. Adjective. In flight, running away, liable to change, not durable, a fugitive color, of literary compositions, scattered, occasional, ephemeral. The history of a life does not always end with the final passing of that life. The memorabilia linger for a time, a great disorder of unpaid bills, half-legible letters, and mysterious writings often remain for others to clear away. It was with that heap of paper in mind that I looked into my old leather trunk, full of photos and the chapters of an almost forgotten memoir I had begun to write long ago by kerosene lamp and candlelight in Asian hotels, unheated European farmhouses, and a South American jungle hut. I was trying then to understand the process that had led me into exile and my life as a fugitive from my homeland. I was a fugitive from my past and from authority. For over 24 years, ever since I put on a wig and borrowed a dead child's identity, I had pretended to be someone other than my mother's child. That I was successful at this for so long was not due to any special skill or ability on my part, but rather to the growing indifference of the law and how well my disguise came to fit. But the law was always there, and the past kept me someone else. With time, I became the person I pretended to be, with weight as a costume and age as makeup. Ms. Everybody. As a fugitive, the realities of the past intersected the present with the continual threat of capture and prison. At the time, I often thought how sweet it would sound to hear someone call me by my real name. Now that I am free, I can finally tell my story. Books have been a passion of mine since childhood, and my personal adventures were inspired by all that I read. Nancy Drew proved to me that girls could be smart. Jo March taught me that girls could be noble, true, and right our way.